Hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back, returning subscribers. I'm just going to be chugging coffee this morning in my Bucky's cup, and then putting on makeup. Yeah, so good morning, how are you? Everything is so loud this morning, I don't know why. I woke up kind of confused. Well, I woke up and there was a kitten on my head, and then my dog if the cat wasn't trying to lick my face, I would turn away from the cat, and I had my dog Lilith, and she was trying to lick my face, and so I tried to I didn't want to wake up. I wanted to sleep for a longer periods of time, but they were not allowing it. Oh my god. So anyways, so I woke up, but do you guys know, have you guys ever seen American Werewolf in London? Have you guys ever seen that? Have you ever seen that? There's a joke in the beginning. And at the beginning. In the beginning of the tale, there's a joke. And it's... I always laugh so fucking hard. Number one, because I'm Mexican. And I always laugh so fucking hard because it's so stupid and strange, but I don't know why. I just thought of that joke. I love that part where he's like, everyone's laughing, like, ah, and he's like, what's up with that fucking star? You know what I'm talking about? Everyone's laughing so loud. I forgot what I was talking about. Everyone's starting to stir. Everyone's beginning the stirring process, the mixing process. So everyone's waking up, everyone's beginning to mix. I'm not in my pajamas today, I'm actually in a nice little dress. But of course, even though I'm in a nice little dress, I'm going to have to slap some makeup on my face. I found my hair clip, but I wanted to show you my hair clip. Isn't it fabulous? Isn't it? Is it not fabulous? Anyways, so I think it's fabulous. So now I'm going to do my makeup. The worst part about recording is that I cannot play music while I am recording. I think that's the saddest part. Because when I was a kid, I used to get ready. I listened to entire CDs, just constantly kind of devouring sound. There's a certain kind of industrial sound that, like, some songs of Nine Inch Nails has. There's like a certain sound. I saw a meme and it was something like, it explained it better. It's funny how memes can explain things like that, like abstract concepts in a heartbeat, and you just get it from something so stupid and yet so bland and basic. And it's absolutely hilarious how something so fucking dumb can really connect you back to yourself and an experience. I think that shitposting is actually a form of divine devotion. Just kidding. But I think that's funny. It's very funny. Everything's so funny. But yeah, I saw this meme and it was like, whenever a song, it said girls whenever a song makes a particular sound. And I think that there was a scribbled image of somebody like profusely vomiting and in like adoration and, you know, of these things. And it's just funny because I had to sit there and explain it to you, but if you just saw it, you would get it. You know? I will say one thing. I went to the dollar store, and the lady working there, she's from California, but she's so nice to me. She's like this beautiful Latino woman, and she, number one, she's beautiful. Number two, she's an angel. Okay? Anytime a beautiful woman is near me and is nice to me, I'm like, hi! Wow. Wow. No, but yeah. Anytime a really pretty woman is nice to me, I'm like, that's right. That's right. You guys all saw that, right? You saw the pretty woman being nice to me. Move aside, assholes. But yes. No. But yes. I saw another meme that I really liked, and it was a meme, and it was like, I ain't exactly, there's like this little guy, he looked mischievous, and he was rubbing his hands together. And he was like, I ain't exactly gay, but I ain't exactly not. It's so funny. Can I say something? Can we be friends? Are we friends? May I? May I? Oh, I forgot to do the thing. I'm a good person. I got this. No. I got this. Don't go anywhere yet. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so what are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you consuming? What kind of media are you consuming? I want to know. Tell me. Tell me right now. The media you are consuming. No, but do you guys remember when you used to be able to like rent VHSs from the library? Can you still do that? I don't know. I don't go there too often because it reminds me of a school, and it kind of triggers me a little bit, honestly. Last time I went, I was like, wow, I haven't been here in so long. It's actually tragic, because I think that I could be happy here. But the only thing that they have is a library. They don't have like a bookstore. They have a library, and I don't know. Sometimes I like to possess the things that I want to possess. Do you understand what I'm saying? Oh my god, I look like I'm trying to get ready to go to see a fucking ICP. Like, it's an ICP concert. But much like a magician, shabam, motherfucker, you're a motherfucking goddamn dog. I'm kidding. Much like a magician, I'm about to blow your fucking mind. What is my problem? God damn it. Shut up, bitch. I'm in a very strange mood today. I'm sorry. And it's only going to get stranger, I feel. I can feel it pulsating beneath the surface. The surface? Ha 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 ha. The surface. The surface. Did you ever say a word too many times and then it's not a word anymore? It's more of an abstract concept of mess. It's tangled up knots that only you know how to untangle. And then you have to go untangle them. Otherwise, you have to sit with a huge pile of knots. And I would rather not do that. First of all. Second of all. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck was I? Oh, God, that's right. I forgot what I was going to say. So, I was mad the other day. I was super duper mad. I'm on my cycle. It aligns with the new moon that has some kind of psychological and spiritual weight or something. So, I'm a bit of a dandy. No, I'm kidding. I think I'm just gonna do super clown makeup today. Not clown, it's not clown. I'm not a fucking clown, but I'm just gonna do super white makeup today. I was going to contour my face, but I don't think I will. I think I'm just going to, I don't know, I'm just feeling this way. Anyways, I love talking to people who just channel that strange absurdness and then allow it to come out, like, because as a child, I did that. So I'm like, I know who you are. I understand this absurdity. I used to do the same type of shit. I was on the same kind of shit. Is that a giant spider? Oh, Lord Jesus. Spider, jump scare, trigger warning. Oh, yeah. Am I going to kill it? No, I'm just going to leave it. It looks like some form of a jumping spider. I actually do keep spiders in my house on purpose. I named them. I named one of them Jareth. Jareth stays in my window near my front door. Every year, there's a Jareth that lives there, and they collect all the bugs that come into the front door and try to get out the area, that area, or whatever. So I enjoy spiders a lot. I don't mind them. I enjoy spiders to an extent. Now, am I saying that I've never done the mushing? No, I'm not saying that I'm some kind of saint spider, you know. I'm not some saint spider woman. I do have a web, but I'm not like sitting there and you could pray to me and then like spiders come out of me. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm some kind of God sent for spiders. But now, in my old age of 30-ish, I like them. I understand their purpose and I enjoy them catching the things in pest control. Sometimes I like them to catch and eat the things that are annoying and buzzing around. I don't mind it. Reading Spanish is so funny, and it kind of fucked me up for a while because when I learned how to read Spanish, which, okay, I can't speak fluent Spanish, and so sometimes I'm insecure. I feel illiterate because I am Mexican. I feel insecure about that, and I've been made fun of, you know, whatever for it, so it's a soft spot for me to be like, oh no, I'm Mexican and I don't know my language. My language, I don't know Mexican. I don't know how to speak Spanish, you know. And my grandfather was he was extremely proud of being a Spaniard. He was extremely proud of being from a certain bloodline. We come from a bloodline in Spain that he's extraordinarily proud of, whatever. But he always held that over my grandmother, who was, and is, even though she's dead, an indigenous woman from Mexico. He always held that over her, like he was like, and I am a Spaniard. I am a Spaniard, a España, you know? And I guess he always made her feel like shit, like she was supposed to serve him in his bloodline. You know, there's just a certain type of militant ideology that he had and projected into the world. And he was a drill sergeant, I believe, and he liked fucking with people's heads. He liked watching people squirm. He was just very cruel and rude. Anyways, from what I remember, he was cruel and rude. Very Saturn-esque, but in a negative aspect of Saturn, like the devouring father. He would devour his children with words and things and watch, and it was a game to him, perhaps. I don't know. Like, he's dead too, so I can't really go and talk. But one thing I do hold on to and remember, something that affects me very deeply, is the peculiarity that was my grandfather. Being proud of being a Spaniard, you know, from España, you know, and having a specific blood and it being old and ancient and tied to royalty or something. Like, he was very proud of that. You know, a very proud man. I don't fucking really have any pride. I don't give a fuck, honestly. And so it's interesting that he got with this woman who was an indigenous woman from Mexico and held that over her, you know. What a douchebag. What a loser. Wow. You have Spaniard blood. That's so cool. Did it get you anywhere in life? No, everybody ends up in a pine box 6 feet under, so what's the point of being a dick to your wife? What's the point of being a total asshole to your beautiful wife? And goddamn, was she pretty. She was a babe. My grandmother was a babe. Fuck it, she still is a babe. So anyways, she had a lot of courage in her, a lot of anger, and a lot of drive. A lot of, I don't know, she had a ground she stood. She stood on a mound, and she stood there, and she defended that. And then she stood what she served for. Whenever she decided to submit herself, and I took her name. I did not on purpose, but my middle name is specifically my grandmother's middle name, and it's a very hard to pronounce. And for a long time I didn't know. My mother called me Emily Ann. She said, Emily Ann. That was my middle name. I thought for a long time my middle name was Ann, but it wasn't. I had my grandmother's middle name or my grandmother's name as my middle name, my father's name as my first name, and then my grandfather's name as my last name. So essentially I come from this very strange mixture of people, and the mixing that has to happen in order for things to correctly sit together, it takes time. There's a process to mix things together, not just like blood and you know, experiences, but also um, their experiences and how I witnessed and observed them, and what I could pull from that, instead of sitting there and be like, God damn, woe is me, you know, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? Even though I was born on a Wednesday, it doesn't. Mm, it doesn't mean that I have to be filled with woe. In fact, there's an expression for September, and it was like, lay an opal on her breast in order to lay her woes to rest. And I was like, so I took it literally, and I was like, let me go find an opal and put it and wrap it. So I found this beautiful Mexican fire opal, and I got a really good deal on it. I knew a lady who was selling gems and minerals, and I used to work at a metaphysical shop, so she had this beautiful piece of Mexican fire opal, and it was like, it was pretty big, and it had this beautiful rainbows and prisms within it. And every time an opal loses its luster, you can just put a drop of water in a Ziploc bag and allow it to retain and regain that moisture. Opals are beautiful and fantastic and are faked a lot, but this was one thing that I had, a real little Mexican fire opal. And that's what I kind of felt like that was me, my little, you know, thing. And so I took that little expression kind of to heart. I took it kind of seriously, you know. So I was like, let me go find an opal and lay it on my breast, or keep it between my heart, you know. So I wrapped it up and I wore it around to see if it would just help me alleviate some kind of woe within myself. So I could maybe then go from looking at things in such a way that it's like, God damn, that's a lot. That's a huge burden to sit there and come from such a bloodline of people and then look at it and be like, you guys are fucking assholes. And to take that, you guys are fucking assholes. To take that divine shit and then from it become compost and then grow something else. Do you understand what I'm saying? It took me a long time to stop feeling so angry and frustrated for the dynamic within my own family, to look at my past, to look at my family tree, to look at who I was named after. My father, my grandmother, my grandfather. I own their name. That is what I have been given. That is what my inheritance is. That is what has been stolen from me. That is the inheritance that I have. I have. It is mine. It is my name. I have acquired 1, 2, 3 things from that bloodline that I was completely separated from. Completely. At the age of 4, I never saw them ever again. I only got phone calls when people died, and then I blocked the numbers directly after that, because the living relatives I had were still a part of that disgusting, putrid, violent aspect of that bloodline, and I refuse to play these games. I'm not that kind of person. I don't want to be violent. Even though I have witnessed such extreme amounts of violence, I refuse to pick the sword up and swing it against anybody. I would rather die. I would rather you come at me and kill me than me pick up a sword and have to use it. Or at least that's what I thought at the time. Now I know how to defend myself. Now if you come at me, I have no problem with defending myself. But at the time, when I was learning how to take that woe within me and go, God, man, it's so hard. I just don't want to look at it. I just don't want to fucking look at it anymore. That's a lot for a little girl, for a child, for a 20-year-old, for a 21-year-old, for a 25-year-old, for a 27-year-old. That is a lot to look at. So I had to table it. I had to table my father's, my grandmother's, and my grandfather's experiences and all of their remnants. All of their remnants that haunted the halls of my mind, like, you know, the proud grandfather from Spain, the strong indigenous grandmother from Mexico, the confused father who was witnessing all these things, and then me, the only child out of that bloodline. My inheritance was nothing. And if I could look at that, like I said, the divine excrement of the situation, the holy shit, the divine excrement from my familial setting at such a young age, from 1 to 4, from birth to 4 years old, I had absorbed and witnessed. And so it was in here, locked away within the caverns and crevices of my mind and whatnot. And so I had to have the balls. Let's be honest. I had to have the fucking balls to go into my subconscious mind and into my psyche and see all of these grand pillars to ancient figures. Here is the grandfather, and here is the grandmother. All these giant totem poles carved with faces and experiences that I had forgotten about, that were lost in old caverns and caves and holy places. As a child, what you witness, what you look at, what you witness, you can't stop it. What you witness becomes they're carving the totem pole in your mind. They're carving it. You see how your grandfather's acting, and so your brain as a baby is just like, grandfather, and it carves and it shapes and it forms, and then it sees grandmother, and what does grandmother look like? And so you're carving and shaping, and out of the wood comes this figure, and the figure is stuck with you until you go back there and realize, I don't have to use a sword as a weapon. I can use it to carve a new face in the statue of what I see now, clearly with 2 eyes, both hemispheres, straight ahead. How can I take this divine excrement and turn it into compost and instead grow a new tree to carve a new figure out of? How can I do that? How can I do that? So that's what I had to do. In all of these things, that's truly what I had to do. I had to, and of course it sounds good now because I'm not telling you all of the violence I had to go through. I'm not telling you all of the situations I had to survive, the therapy and well, I didn't go to therapy until recently, but I'm not telling you the other part, the part that is the raw experience, because if you know, you know. And if not, it is not for you. It is for those who know, those who are seeking, those who need to go into the dark caverns of their primordial existence and see the ancient grandfather figure. And like I said, take that holy shit, the divine excrement from the situation, compost it, and plant something new. And how does grandfather look now? What is grandfather? To me, to you, what is this? Think, what is grandfather? What is Saturn, Kronos type of figure? He was extraordinarily devouring. He was so fucking devouring. He was so strict. He played games with people's lives and sat back and found enjoyment from it. Who was this man? And of course, these are just aspects my 4-year-old mind remembers. When I look back and I do the work and I sit there in meditation and I call upon the forces within myself, bring me the memories, allow me to see it. Now that I'm sitting and I have the space to do so, I evoke these memories and I look back and I go, man, this is tough. This is really hard. This is really fucking hard. This is so tough to get to. This is a very big mountain that I will have to climb. And I will have to take time, and I will have to dedicate a good portion of my subconscious mind and my psyche to understanding why this large burial mound is here and who lies within it. Anyways, it is hard. There's a whole alchemical process that needs to happen within you and outside of you. So there's a mix. It has to happen outside, inside. It's a little dance. Look at that. The mixing dance. If you don't, there's something I heard from, I believe her name is it's Madame Clarissa. But she said, I did not make this up myself, but she said that when you are mixing, and let's say you have you know what I'm saying, the mixing tools, what happens if you pull it out too soon and it's still going? What happens when you lift up the spinners while it's what happens then? Get back in there. This is I hate these things. This is for the hanging up the clothes. The clothes for women. Oh my god, they are so aggravating. No, but what happens? What happens? On the walls, chaos. Now I have to clean, and we have to begin again. Toss out divine excrement into the compost pile and begin again. Begin at the beginning again until you get it right, which is it's a Saturnian process, a Saturn-like process, where you have to begin again, begin again, begin again. You've spent 5 years on it. Destroy, compost, begin again. Grow a different way. No, harvest, reap, sow, go, begin again, you know? And it's wow, God, it feels like torture. How well do you take criticism? How well can you take criticism? Will it destroy you? Will it destroy you? Sorry, I have allergies today. Possibly, it could destroy you. Criticism hurts the ego. Do you have the capacity or time to allow your ego to go away? Can you take that mask off for a moment's time? Begin again, again. Practice, rehearse, move that there. This would look better. It takes time. And who rules time? At least on this earthly realm, we associate it with Kronos, with Saturn, you know? Begin again, try harder, do better. I did not think that performance was everything that you really had, and I could tell. Do better, you know? There's, it's a cycle, but like, so there's things you could do outside of yourself. You don't have to just sit there and be like, okay, I'm going to surrender my ego and like go into the underworld. It's not a conscious thing that happens. There's cues in the world, in this stage of the world, there's cues that happen, and you'll see them, and you'll go, start noticing. You'll start hearing the orchestra playing, and you'll start hearing the hum. You hear people practicing their sheet music. The lights start dimming, and you go, oh God, fuck. Begin again. It is night now. The lights have gone low. The lamp lights are on. The limelights are on. Begin again. You know, it's a strange divine performance for Saturn, is it not? All of these things. Isn't life not a strange divine performance for the gods? All these ancient old creatures that are still here today, and how you take all of the divine shit in your life, all of the woe, the misery, the fucking stuff you don't want growing in your garden, how you take that and how you learn to work with Saturn and say, how can I reap? How can I take this out? Compost it. Begin again. Allow something else to flourish. It's not perfect. Begin again. You know? And that takes time. It takes cycles. I mean, how long is a growth cycle? Let's just go back into like gardening, right? It's essentially gardening. I've learned a great deal of things about Saturn from gardening. I had to go get this because I'm going to put this on my lips. So, Gardening taught me a lot about Saturn, about the earth, about reaping and sowing and planting, and how things work with each other and how they don't. When you do things outside of yourself, it does affect you internally. And if you have that kind of little, I don't know, there's like a spark within people. I don't know if it's Mercury. I don't know if it's some kind of, I don't know what it is. But there is something, and everybody has it. Every human has it. There's every body contains this thing, the material to do the work. Everybody has the tools. They just don't know, or maybe the light's not on inside of them and they can't see. Everyone is capable of doing this. Everyone is. So don't feed me that shit. That, oh, you are this or that. No. Everyone. I am nothing. I am no one. I am just a fucking mistake. And if a mistake who's had such an insane life can do these things, you have no excuse. You just have to submit yourself to it, and you have to be courageous and brave and listen to these stories. Now, perhaps, maybe it's not your path to go into the underworld and to look Saturn in the eyes and to those deep holes, and maybe it's not your path. I don't blame you. I don't want to do things like this sometimes. It's fun to rot in my bed and endlessly doom scroll and consume media, but then there's other times where I hear the orchestra humming, and it is it's signaling something deeper, darker, more serious, because it is Saturn is death too in our culture. It is just a portal into a different realm of existence, and within us we all have bones. We all have a fraction of what, inside there's a truth that we can sometimes project onto a screen externally from our conscious mind and go, there is that truth. You could see it sometimes when the light comes from within. So, but is it hard? Yeah, it's hard. I had to do a lot of studies, and there's a shamanic studies, listening and learning about my own culture and different gods and deities. The best thing you could do is listen to stories. Let me just back this up. So let's say you're like, oh, my life is shitty. I'd like to change the way I think. Well, it's number one, chaos. Number one, divine destruction and darkness. The only way anything is going to change is if there is an element of chaos within it that kickstarts you to think, you to problem solve, you to start looking around. You will never find any kind of change within comfort, because comfort is solidified. It is crystallized comfort. There is a beautiful Uranian nature that has to happen, the father of Saturn. There is a beautiful thing that has to happen, and it has to quickly, like hot lightning, change the way that the structures here are. The solid mountains and rocks, it has to hit them and create from this destruction something new, an avenue, an opening for maybe your consciousness to start projecting outwards, and you could start seeing what your star maps look like. Here is, there's my grandfather, there's my grandmother. Now there's a light coming through your eyes, and now you can go into these deep, dark caverns and look around and be like, oh my God, I didn't know that I valued this because they told me to. How do I still value it? You could question, do I still value this? Am I still my grandfather's granddaughter, the one who had her inheritance of these three people's names taken from me by a cruel individual? Am I still that? Is that still the way the story's being written? You can learn how to tell your own story. You can learn how to write your own stories. By what? Sitting and listening. It takes time. You have to listen to myth. You have to, ingest different stories to get a more clearer perspective. Anything close to, just awakening that little divine light within you so you can see. So you have your own flashlight and you could see through these dark caverns, and you have to be quiet. Sometimes there's a long periods of silence. You can't just go into the underworld and be like, to me now, after many, many years of constantly it's almost just kind of like going to work. I joke about going to the underworld. It's just kind of like, for me, I'm just like, I can hear it. And I speak to my friends who are also on a similar path, and they can equate their experiences to something like mine. And together she's doing her work and I'm doing my work. And so sometimes we go both to the underworld. Hey, what are you doing here? Well, I would like my life to change. So I know that I need to go into these dark caverns and see what's below the foundation. What is below the foundation? How is this structure being formed? So, sometimes I meet my friends in the underworld. I'm like, hey, you're in this place. What are you doing? I'm down here having dinner. I'm just kidding. Girl dinner. I'm going into the underworld and devouring souls. I'm just joking. It's a joke. I'm joking. But girl dinner. No, I'm kidding. Sometimes you go into the underworld and what do? You devour yourself. Do you have the capacity within yourself to destroy old versions of yourself, to sacrifice old versions to yourself for like a new, better life? Do you have that? If not, don't do it. It's not. People get stuck there all the time. People get stuck in the underworld, and people end up losing their minds, their self. People end up lost there for a long time, and it's dangerous and scary. Of course it is. It's the underworld. It's dark. Everything dark is dangerous and scary, but it is a blessing to be alive and to be able to go down there and be like, Lucy, I'm home. It is a divine experience within the human body to be like, okay, it's your own hero's journey you really have to go on, and sometimes you can have a mentor, but there's going to be a point where you cannot always hold somebody's hand down there. There'll be a point where you have to feel. You'll be without your sight. You have to feel around and say to yourself, what's that? What's this? What's that? I'm scared. And how much fear will you have? How much... I'm scared. It is scary. I'm not saying that underworld traveling is I don't know, this is just one way to speak on such a wide thing. This is one tiny little line in the whole structure that is communication about this abstract concept. This is just one way, and this is the way it's coming out of me right now. And if you speak to me randomly, you find me at the store and you strike up a conversation, I will say something different about the same topic. But right now in this, when I'm locked into right now, this is how it's coming out. So I'm just going to let it come out because it's important. So like I said, you're in the underworld and you have to, maybe your mentor brings you there and says, here's all the things I told you about. Here's everything I told you that was down there, but it's down there for everybody's different. It's shape shifting, it's formless and there's loud sounds. It's very scary, it's primordial existence. It doesn't speak. It's not like, hi, welcome to the underworld. How may I take your order? It's kind of like you have to feel and you have to know and you have to use your instincts and you have to tune yourself. And there are things down there like animals and creatures and whatnot, all kinds of things that have teeth that are bared, and sometimes it's yourself in a mask, and you just have to realize that you're saying to yourself, you're not ready yet, go back, start again. You're not ready, go back, do more research, go back, re-look at yourself, you're not ready. And it is a form of protection, self-protection, to scare yourself out of the underworld. You don't have to sit there like, no, I'm so tough, I'm so brave, I can do this. That's not how it works. It's okay to be like, okay, I went an inch in there, only an inch, and then I had to walk back out. Be proud of yourself. That is still success. You did it. You did the scary thing. You left your comfort zone and you went there, and you did good. You did an inch is better, and then you don't have to go a mile in there and get lost and end up, when you finally clock back into your body or something, you're institutionalized, there is a silence that has to happen. There is a if you know, and that's all you can really say. Mine is different than yours, and yours is different than your mother's and your father's, your grandmother's. If you have a twin, your underworlds will be different, and yet they are all together, together, and there are similarities. I can tell you that I went into a cave and saw a spider. The spider became a man, and the man was on the walls, and he was chained and trapped or whatever. Now, what does that mean to me? And whenever I relay these experiences, if I'm in a safe place to do so, if I feel like you need to hear it, what does that mean for you? What are these things? What are these things? for every person, it's an individual meaning. And then through you discovering your individual meaning, you actually reconnect yourself to everybody else at large. But is it scary? Of course it is. Yes, it's very scary. It's frightening. It takes time. Your body's going to go through changes. You have to internalize this information and weigh it and do research. And there are many things that happen. And on the outside, it may look like you are having a fucking mental breakdown. And people don't understand you because you're not speaking anymore something that they can ingest. You are no longer speaking the language of the people who dwell on the surface. You are speaking the language of something very dark and ancient and foreign, and yet everybody has it within them. You are speaking a lost language, and so it looks like you're eccentric and out there and crazy, because the truth is what's happening is you are creating a barrier between yourself and society, because it is too much. It is too fucking much for anybody to massively go there. Send a mass of people to the underworld. That's too much. It would cause too much chaos and destruction, and on a level that isn't, I mean, it's better for you to understand the lesson. Let me go back to the Saturn-like aspects of this. It's better for you to understand the lesson, to stand underneath it, and to observe it from every angle you can, to learn more, to gain knowledge and wisdom from observation, overcoming that instinctual fear of the darkness, the thing that is veiled with the dark femininity. It is so important for you yourself to distance yourself from society, to take those cues from your psyche and from people externally being like, you're fucking weird, you're fucking weird. The rejection is a blessing sometimes, because then you go into yourself, you start asking questions, you start walking. Every question's a step, a descent. What? Why? How? Who? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? You know? And there's all forms of avenues people take into these cracks and crevices within the mind and psyche. There's all forms. You could be intellectual, you can go to college, you can join a group or an organization and and go do nefarious things and feel, oh, you've done enough bad things. You dumb motherfucker. We got you. And now you're stuck. And so there you go, into the underworld. What did I do? What was wrong? Blah, 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 blah. Question. And all of these questions, you travel down, and then you realize that there's a point where questioning stops. Stop questioning. Because if you keep asking, you're loud, and things can hear you. The things you cannot see can hear you. So you have to be silent. Sometimes you have to, like I said, it's instinctual. You got to feel around in there. Feel around, like, what is this? But not ask it out loud. Ask it within your heart and your mind's eye. And sometimes it's better to just be quiet and observe these experiences, and then go into when you walk out into the light. You have to ascend slowly. It is like a shamanic journey. It truly is. It could be equated to ancient shamanism. What the fuck ever. It's not unique, and yet it is unique. It is, and it isn't at the same time, and you just have to accept it or not. You can reject it. You can say, oh, this is all a lie. The underworld is a complete fabrication. It's a lie. It doesn't even exist. She doesn't even go here, Underworld University. She doesn't even go here. It is an initiation, and the descent, if it's done slowly and meticulously, is better than sliding down. Okay, it's better to descend slowly into your personal realm to gain wisdom and knowledge, and from the holy shit aspects of your life, the fucking fuckery of fuck these, the Rocco from the Boondock Saints says, you two fucking fucks, fuck, kind of thing. to take it is better to descend slowly into your underworld so you can watch. I mean, if you learn about compost, you'll understand things can get too hot too quickly and it combusts. Combust, the compost pile combusting. But there are things that happen on a little level that you have to tend to and you have to be aware of and observe and have data. And then, like I said, you go in an inch and then you come out an inch and then you go further, whatever, further. Sometimes it feels good. You can't, sometimes it's good to have a mentor, and a lot of spiritual avenues will have these people, these mentors. I know within like voodoo, or within, the way of the saints, Santeria, within Santeria, I'm not going to speak on it too much, okay, because I'm not formally, I am and I'm not, so I am but I exactly ain't. But in the way of the saints in Santeria, there is like the taking of a child. It's how do you say, a Saturn-like process to take the child. No, but to take the child and then to observe externally, because you already know the underworld. So you're observing externally, what is this a child of? Who is the God that is on your head? Who are you? What is that light from within you? What is this? And then somebody who's very well versed in these ancient forms of communication with the above and the below, they can sit there and say, they could cast the shells and things and get confirmation as to what it would be good for you to do, if and which path would be more better. It's better to have a mentor. It really is sometimes to have a mentor, and the culture I come from, Santeria, is just normal stuff. It's just normal. It's so normal for everybody's grandmother in my neck of the woods. In my neck of the woods, to practice witchcraft. It was very common for the, in fact, my grandmother, my earliest memories was of watching her. The time I met her finally, it was a very strange experience, and I can't really speak on it because it's too heavy. But the first time I truly consciously met her, I remember seeing there was elephants and there was sparklers and there was fire and there was all of these things, and I could sense it, I could see it, that she did these things, these secret things, witchcraft, the brujeria and santeria, and she had things that protected her, and she did things to protect herself. And sometimes you have to get into that. You have to get into brujeria, witchcraft, some kind of spiritual practice to feel protected enough, at least to feel protected enough to walk an inch in and walk an inch out. Now the descent is better slow. It's better to go slowly into the underworld than it is to slip on a fucking rock, a wet, damp rock in a grove of oaks into an entanglement, and slide down on your ass. Like I said before, ankle broken, you're stuck here observing until you can crawl your way out on your stomach back up through the hole you fucking fell into. It sucks. Sometimes it does suck. It's work. It's not like, it's work. It's better to just not. It's better to just not work. It's better to go laugh with your friends, share memes. Do not become isolated. The burden is too much for someone with such woe sometimes, and people take early. I've had friends take early exits, and it's an intimate thing between yourself and yourself, figuring out, where is your holy shit, and how can you create a grove that will last lifetimes. How can you fix your foundation? Do you want to be better? Do you even fucking want to be better? If not, then continue fucking everybody in town. Continue taking all of the drugs. Continue doing those things that you so deeply desire and have become enviced in. Like your advice comes from your vice, and that's the only thing you want to listen to. That's between yourself and your path. I don't sit there and try to shame you. I think that we all have our paths, and each path is a burden. There's an individual fucking burden. It's heavy. It's not light. It's not something airy. It's not airy-fairy. It is heavy to look at all of the things in your life. If you've lived a life, if you've lived a fucking life of such complexity, it's extraordinarily difficult to sit there and then feel safe to go back into a group setting and submit yourself to, you're different. You're different. Submit yourself to the rejection you will get, because it's scary. And now you look scary. You have scars and you have things that have tainted yourself because you did the work. You went there. And how much of a sacrifice have you made? Did you sacrifice your skin? Did you sacrifice your flesh? Did you sacrifice your eyes? Have you sacrificed your tongue? Can you still speak? Did you sacrifice your tongue to the ancient dwelling things within, and now you can only speak in underworld riddles? Are you confusing? Are you strange? Are you scary? And if so, good, fine, whatever. Be scary, but be in alignment with yourself. Who cares if people reject you? And of course, sometimes they will. And sometimes you need that rejection as an ego hit. You need that ego to be hit and cracked and fractured so light can get in and you could start looking again for little lost things, for the things that creep and crawl within ourselves and outside of ourselves that remind you we're all connected in some kind of strange, fucked off way. Every single thing comes from allegedly stardust, the great dark deep that is above and, within us as well as outside of us, So if you have the desire to realign yourself with everything, it takes time. It takes time. And are you, is it going to make you money? No. Does divine madness make anybody money? No. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. In my darkest days, when I was my poorest, those were some of the most important time periods, because those were the times that I was so vulnerable and so much more susceptible to high winds, which only caused my roots to grow deeper. You understand how trees are. Sometimes what happens is you plant them and you want to put support around them, perhaps a triad of poles, and then you tie the tree to the poles so it can erect itself in such a way that is pleasing for the development of fruit, but also not, is it cattywampus? Is that how you say cattywampus? They're very a crooked tree, People don't find value in things that are strange looking. They don't find value, monetary or, the collective play consciousness. So that tree's growing sideways. Now it's taking up a horizontal space, and it's obstructing my view. So they trim it, start again, or don't start at all. Maybe some time in the future you'll start again, whatever, doesn't matter. But what is obstructing your view? Sometimes you gotta remove the things that are obstructing your view and become vulnerable. That's what happened with me. I was removing things that were obstructing my view and abstracting my view, and then eventually I could see a little bit more clearly. But within that clarity, sometimes there is divine madness. It looks like divine madness. You look like a fucking idiot sometimes speaking the truth. You look foolish telling the truth sometimes. And so how can you safely tell the truth? Put on a jester hat, bitch. Don those socks. Put on the Harlequin outfit and go out there in front of the king and say you are a disgusting piece of shit, but your jingle bells on your hat will distract him to where he cannot hear what you're saying, but he is hearing what you're saying, but he's too entertained to really give a fuck that you just insulted him. And maybe that insult will crack his ego a little and allow the light out, right? It's so funny. It's so funny, the sacred performance of jesters. It's hilarious and sad and everything. Or at least you can find everything within that. You could find it. I could hold a thing of concealer up, and depending on where you're at, we can together go into everything. I think there's a really beautiful expression. There's a beautiful expression that I read. I was at this motel, and the Bhagavad Gita was within the, how do you say it? The dresser drawer. And I was reading it. I was at this motel and I was in a very dark space. Externally, my life was crumbling. And I was alone in this hotel room. And I was just like, what the fuck is everything? And I was so mad and confused and hurt and lost. And I opened it instinctively. I just opened up a page and it was speaking about, I'm going to botch it, but whatever. It was speaking about how there is a aspect of truth in God within everything. The same amount of God that's within me, within my hair and my eyelashes, or the crevices of my fingernails, are in a blade of grass, in a dog, in a ray of sunshine. There's a aspect of divinity within everything. And so you and I could come together and we could look at anything with our aspects of divinity and see a little reflection of it and go, wow, there it is. There is a divinity in the trickster. There's a divinity in Saturn. There's a divinity in the ancient grandfather that stands tall and devours children. There is a divinity in the number one dad. There's a divinity in the scared grandmother who does things in the dark that are scary, like witchcraft, in order to protect herself. There is a divinity in leaving. There's a divinity in screaming. There's a divinity in fire alarms. There's a divinity in tires. There's a divinity everywhere that if you look long enough and with a certain type of perspective, you could find God anywhere. Find God in the ripples of a toilet paper holder. You could find him anywhere. It, M, as in them. E-M, M. You can find M anywhere for the low price of $19.95. Anyways, so yeah, so I honestly, all I'm trying to say is that good things take time, and you don't have to rush anything. Don't rush into the underworld. Don't rush into the bottom of your psyche and be like, oh, well, I'm curious. I want to go down there. I'm brave. I'm this. I'm that. Blah, blah. No, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Number one, silence is gold. So shut the fuck up. Number two, shut the fuck up. Number three, allow it to internalize. Number 1 and 2 are shut the fuck up. Number 3 and 4 are stay shutting the fuck up and allow the internalization to happen. Number 5 happens between the mixing process, the allowing these thoughts from external, internal, within, without to be, and letting that mix happen. It takes time to mix. If you pull it out too soon, what happens? You have to start again because your walls are covered in cake batter and and you face your eyes, you have egg on face, you look like an idiot. And perhaps you are an idiot, but isn't there such a divinity in being an idiot? Isn't there such a great lesson that could come from being a fucking moron? I like to think that there is. Because if not, then my life has no purpose. I'm so fucking ridiculous. Then my life has no purpose. And I would like to think that perhaps there is a purpose. And not for people at large. There's nothing you can gain. There's no money you can gain from telling the truth, generally. But there is a lot of money within illusion. And the pleasurable creation of illusions. So I'm gonna go. I will talk to you later. Okay, goodbye.